So, John Stuart utilitarian theory, and as we have rightly pointed out, it is all about happiness because Stuart believes that any act of yours that results into happiness is ethical. And in fact, you will figure out that it is not the happiness of the person who is enacting uh, a particular role, but also the others who are going to be affected by it. Both the parties should be happier. So, according to Stuart Mill, such behavior will be considered to be ethically correct, which results into an enhancement of your happiness. You feel good about it, and at the same time, others also do feel good about it. But then, how can you justify a behavior in which some sacrifices are made? How can we justify on the basis of utilitarian theory? If happiness is the root cause, if happiness is the parameter to decide whether a behavior is ethical or not, how can you justify a behavior which involves pains at the moment? In that context, any idea, any wild idea of yours that could suffice the purpose? Because yeah, because how can you justify somebody is taking pains at this point of time? It is devoid of happiness. And Stuart Mill suggests that happiness drives a person to act. You do things because you feel happy about it. Now, if somebody is deliberately taking pains, if you take pains to attend the classes or attend to the lectures or carry on with the studies, why at all are you taking such pains? This is a painful for some of them, perhaps. In that context, Stuart Mill suggests that the the pain is being taken at this point of time because it has a potential to deliver greater happiness, right? So happiness is the root cause. Happiness is the catchword. Happiness is going to shape up an ethical behavior. Let us have a quick recap of what we already have discussed, and just jot down if you have missed out and add something to it. The ethical theory of John Stuart Mill, remember the year 1806, 1873, is most extensively articulated in his classical text Utilitarianism. You may not be very particular about his year span, but this year 1861 is to be remembered because in the year 1861 he came up with his book named Utilitarianism. The name of the book itself was Utilitarianism, and in that book, the principle of utilitarian is being discussed, which have a reference to uh, the parameter that is happiness, as we will discuss. If it results into the happiness of others, the behavior is ethical. So he refers to this concept in his book Utilitarianism, which was published in 1861. Just remember that day. You may miss out his uh, living span. It is immaterial. The contribution and the date in which the contribution came to the light. And in a nutshell, what this principle is all about, this principle simply suggests, and the principle is referred to as utilitarian principle, and which simply states that actions are right. How can you judge whether the action was right or wrong? So, action will be uh, considered to be right in proportion as they tend to promote overall happiness. Greater the happiness, uh, more correct or more right was your action. So, action would be considered to be correct to an extent, uh, it has resulted the happiness of others. Overall human happiness. Greater the happiness that has resulted because of your action, more correct your or more right was your behavior. So your action is to be judged by the happiness of others. If it results into the happiness, then only such behavior is good enough. Now, in that context, if it is all about generating happiness, how will you be justifying somebody who is planning to loot a bank? Because these looters may be feeling very happy about it. How are you going to explain the such antisocial behavior, conspiring to loot a bank?
So some girls are waiting.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for them. Participants, yes. Because looting a bank is a proposition which results into the agony of to others. Getting it? It results into pain to others, the investors, the government, the different parties to it. So it is therefore not ethical. Anything that results into pain is not right, as per the theory, utilitarian theory. And the gist you already have mentioned, and the principle of utility is also referred to as the greatest happiness principle. Why the word greatest is used? Because we talk in terms of proportion. Greatest happiness would be derived only if the action is uh, more correct. The, the action is correct to the hilt. So there is a relationship of proportionality, the rightness and the happiness. Greater the happiness, greater the right, greater was right your behavior. Your behavior was right in that order. So, and according to him, an action is right to the extent that it increases the total happiness of the affected parties. Now, who are the affected parties over here? Both the individual who is enacting a particular act and the one who will be on the receiving end. Affected parties, your action will affect others. So they are the others, but at the same time, you yourself will be a part of it. The two together constitute the system. It is not simply that one party is happy and the other is on the losing end. Then such behavior will not be correct, morally correct. So an action is right to an extent that it increases the total happiness of the affected parties. The action is wrong, just the reverse, the vice versa. The action is wrong to the extent that it decreases the total happiness. How wrong your action was could only be established to the extent it has decreased the happiness of the affected parties. If it has brought about a greater sorrow, your behavior was that much wrong. So there is a relationship of proportionality. Just make sure that this is very clear. Rightness and happiness have got a proportional relationship and directly proportional to each other. Uh, so that was the idea. On happiness, what is happiness? It is very different for different people. It is very subjective term. And for our concern, we could consider anything, maybe advantage, benefit, good or pleasure, whatever. So it is a positive side of your mindset. If you feel in an advantageous position, if you feel that you are being benefited out of some act, then only happiness would result. And the rules, you see, this principle is transformed into the rules that are the basis for the principle of utility, and the rule is exactly the same. A rule is right to the extent that it increases the total happiness, of the affected parties. The greatest happiness principle is applied to the moral rules. So rules, the moral rules should be based on the principle of greatest happiness. Now that was the concern of John Stuart Mill. So whenever the government attempts to develop certain rules and regulation to uh, have a upper hand regarding the regulation of the society, it should always consider what would be the impact of the rule on the public. Both the parties should feel happy about it. That is the only criteria. Now, the same thing, just an elaboration. Actions are right in proportion as they tend to promote happiness. It has been discussed. Wrong as they tend to produce the reverse of happiness. Happiness as pleasure and absence as pain. Happiness is pleasure and its absence is pain. So pain and pleasure. These are the two considerations which will determine whether the actions were right or wrong. Pleasure can differ in quality and quantity, and pleasure are rooted in one's higher faculties and accordingly should be weighted more heavily than baser pleasure. Now, what is meant by this? This paragraph is something that is to be elaborated. Baser pleasure. Baser pleasure means the pleasure related to the body. The base at the basis we have got body. Higher level is mind, then spirit, mind, body, and spiritual pleasure. So when we go up the hierarchy, our pleasure are more enduring in nature. Getting it? If you attend to pleasure directed at the higher faculty, what could be the higher faculty? Maybe the mind, maybe the spirituality.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, yes, yes.
So one more girl is waiting.
Oh, it is not showing up. In fact, two girls are waiting. Right. So this is to be elaborated because the principle appears to be very simple. Anything, any act that leads to happiness is ethically correct. So the one-liner, but it has to be interpreted deeper. And one of the part of analysis that we are concerned about is the level. So if the pleasure is rooted at the baser level, it is not to be weighted more. Weighted more means what? Giving more importance to. That is, one should give more importance to the pleasure that is directed to higher levels rather than the baser level. Baser level means the body. If you only attend to the pleasure that would direct to the body, this is not done. You should attach more weights. You should give more importance to pleasure that are directed to the higher level. Maybe your emotions, maybe the at the level of mind and beyond. Right. So we should attend to the pleasure at higher level. That is going to be more enduring, more satisfying, and result into a greater extent of durable pleasure. It will last longer because attending to pleasure at baser level will be very transient. If you attend to the pleasure which are directed to the body, it will not going to last long. But the pleasure directed at the mindset, the level of feeling, emotions, opinion, the thought process, and beyond that, maybe the spiritual world, that is going to be more enduring in nature. So one must attach more importance to attend to pleasure at the higher level than at the lower level. This is this is something that a person has to decide. This is just a passing comment that the pleasure which are directed at the body level are not very enduring in nature. Therefore, you should attach more weight to higher level pleasures. Like if you seek solace in spirituality, you will be cut off from the pleasure at the lower level. You will not attempt to seek pleasure at the baser level. Like you will not be very concerned about tastier food or how do you dress up, because all these are concerned at the level of the most baser level. Don't you think that there is more and more craving? There is no endurance. It will not last for a longer period of time. If you had a good meal at this point of time, and once you had it, it's done. But if you have got certain idea that is driving you crazy, you will be more concerned about satisfying your curiosity, and getting the same will give you the more of pleasure. Any quest for knowledge will be more enduring in nature. So that was the idea. Attend to the higher level. More weight should be attached. So make sure that you are very particular about this observation. Baser level and higher faculties. The next part was people's achievement of goals and ends such as virtuous living should be counted as part of their happiness. So see, your virtuous living, whether was life was fulfilled or not, that depends on to what extent have you been happy. Happiness is the index for determining how good your life was. There should be a pursuit towards happiness. We should undertake an endless pursuit regarding what will fetch us happiness. It is the happiness that drive people crazy. Getting it, and that is enduring. Instead of uh, perpetrating any sorrows to somebody, if you more are more concerned about resulting into the happiness of others, it means that you have led a virtuous life. So this term should be, you can underline the word for virtuous living. Virtuous living is to be decided by the extent that you have contributed to the pleasure of others. And there are so many philosophical bickering in that regard. Hey, you might have heard of the song "Apne liye jiye to kya jiye." You should not be only concerned about yourself. If your actions could result into the greater happiness to others, your living is worth. Otherwise, anybody lives for oneself. Uh, even the animals do. So that is what effect it has in terms of pleasure as far as others are concerned. And that is what the utilitarian principle is concerned. And yes, the first part was already discussed. Achha, this is not to say that utilitarian promotes life of base pleasure. In fact, that was discussed right now. Body pleasure, because humanity's higher faculties, mind and spirit, provides a higher quality of pleasure. You see, the quality of pleasure also differs. The quantity and quality, the intensity of pleasure, you will be getting far more intense pleasure if you attend to pleasure that are directed to the level of mind and spirit than the lower faculties like the base, the body. That was discussed. That is a very important part of the theory. Make sure the intensity of pleasure that you are going to derive would be far more as if you attend to the pleasure that are directed towards higher level. If your behavior results into the pleasure that are directed at higher level, it is going to fetch much more pleasure. So this is very important a part of the discussion that you should remember. And morality does something requires sacrifice of happiness. Again, very important one. Make sure that you take it a note of that. Morality does sometimes require the sacrifice of happiness. How will you justify people entering into the sacrificing of happiness? Nobody would, perhaps, but there is a reason, and reason is why somebody undertake pains at a given point of time, because only to secure greater happiness for others or in future. We are undertaking pains at this point of time because we expect a greater pleasure to result. So at the end of the day, everything boils down to pleasure. Even if we are making a sacrifice at this point of time of our pleasure, but this is purposely being undertaken in order to contribute to a higher level of pleasure, greater level of pleasure in future. So future is the catchword. Pleasure is what we are solely concerned about, right? And what was the prescription for the society then? If society were to embrace utilitarianism as ethnic, people would naturally internalize these standards as morally binding. That was a prescription. If society were to embrace utilitarianism as an ethnic, if society sets the standards that whatever you do will be considered ethnic, if it promotes happiness of others, then only people would naturally internalize, people will learn, people will accept these standards as morally binding. So you will be under pressure that you are bound to behave in a particular way, and what is the particular way? Contributing to the pleasure of others. So happiness is the sole basis of morality. People never desire anything but happiness, obviously. All the other objects of people's desire are either means to happiness. So happiness is something that we are so concerned about as per Stuart Mills. The sentiment of justice is actually based on utility, and that rights exist only because they are necessary for human happiness. The same thing. Uh, and the last, the concluding part, just a nutshell. One one point that could be considered over here is the second one, because the first part is exactly the same. An action is right if it tends to promote happiness, and wrong if it tends to produce the reverse of happiness, not just the happiness of the performer. So this is something that is to be taken a note of. Not just the happiness of the performer. If the performer feels good, a performer may feel good when he commits a crime. Not just the happiness of the performer of the action, but also that of everyone affected by it, that we discussed at the very outset. Both the parties should feel happy about it. The one who initiates the action, he should feel good by indulging into such activity, and the one who is on the receiving end should also feel good about it. Then the behavior is morally correct. This is a parameter. One very important dimension, both the parties, the doer and the receiver of the action, both are relatively happier, then only you can be assured that the action was ethically correct. Now, it is in opposition to egoism, the view that person should pursue his own self-interest, even at the expense of others. So if you are only concerned about your pleasure, you are subdued by egoism, which should be avoided. And to any ethical theory that regards some act or types of act right or wrong independently of their consequences. So there is one theory that is called consequenceless theory that simply suggests what is the consequence of your behavior. You should also feel good about it, other party should also feel good about it. Then only you can say that yes, uh, your behavior is ethically correct. So instead of simply attending to the consequences, you should also consider whether you yourself are happier by indulging in those activities or not. And the final word, utilitarianism also differs from ethical theories that make the rightness or wrongness of the act dependent upon the motive of the agent. For according to the utilitarian, it is possible for the right thing to be done from a bad motive. Getting it? Your motive has to be fair. It is not both ends and means be in should be right. Your motive should be right. Your behavior accordingly should go hand in hand. So, according to utilitarian, it is possible for the right thing to be done from the wrong motive. So, whether the person is happier, that is it. Getting it? So, irrespective of the motive, if you have brought about, so telling a lie to make people good because the person will feel happier is very well justified according to utilitarian theory. So, means are not going to play the decisive role. I read it for one more time. Utilitarianism also differs from ethical theories that make the rightness or wrongness of the act dependent upon the motive of the right. So most of the ethical theories consider the motive at the same time, because this utilitarian principle only considers the right thing that has resulted, irrespective of motive. Even if your motive was wrong, if your motive was not bad, but it has resulted into a right thing, happiness, it is justified. So even if your intentions were malified, still it has resulted into the happiness, it is justified because happiness is the catchword over here. So this is all about Stuart, and that concludes our discussion. Obviously, we start a very important discussion tomorrow, and that is veil of governance, ethical veil by Royal. ठीक है, we discuss it tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.